It was a Sunday morning, one of those rare golden Sundays that make you believe the world is kind again. The sky was clear, the sun gentle but bright, and there was a certain sweetness in the air that made even the simplest things, like going to the market, feel like a small adventure. Tom was especially cheerful that day. At 6 years old, he was a burst of light, curious, talkative, always asking questions about everything he saw. He held my hand as we walked down the busy street toward the Sunday market. The town center was alive. Vendors calling out prices, the scent of ripe strawberries and oranges mixing with freshly baked bread, and people moving in that slow, happy rhythm that only weekends can bring. We stopped at a fruit stand where I was picking apples, chatting with the seller, when suddenly I felt an emptiness beside me. I turned. He wasn't there. "Tom?" I called, looking around. No answer. My heart started to pound. I looked behind me, between the stalls. Nothing. My voice trembled as I called again, louder this time. "Tom!" The world around me blurred. The sound of chatter and laughter turned into a faint echo. My eyes scanned every direction, behind the bakery stand, near the flower shop, but there was no trace of him. I dropped the small bag of fruit I was holding and ran toward the street. "Did anyone see a little boy? A blue jacket, brown hair, about this tall?" I asked a group of strangers, my voice shaking. Most of them just shrugged. Some didn't even look at me. And in that moment, the warmth of the morning turned cold. Minutes felt like hours. I ran up and down the block, my chest tight, my breathing uneven. The thought that something might have happened to him was unbearable. Every worst-case scenario flashed through my mind. A car, a stranger, the crowd. I prayed under my breath, whispering his name as if it could somehow lead me to him. It must have been almost an hour when I turned a corner and saw a small alleyway. Narrow, quiet, hidden behind a line of old buildings. Something told me to go there, and that's where I saw him. Tom was sitting on the ground near a row of garbage bins, his little hands cupped around something small and orange. He looked up, startled, when he saw me, his face streaked with tears and dust. But before I could even speak, I saw what he was holding. A kitten. Tiny, frail, covered in dust, her fur a warm orange gold tangled from dirt. She looked exhausted, but her eyes, bright amber, wide and pleading, were full of life. "Mom, she was crying, all alone. She's scared." And then, looking at the kitten, he added softly, "I couldn't leave her." Relief and fear collided in my chest. I ran to him, kneeling down, hugging him so tightly he could barely breathe. Tears streamed down my face as I whispered, "Don't you ever run away like that again. Do you understand?" He nodded, his small face buried against my shoulder. But then I felt something warm and trembling press against my leg. The kitten. She looked up at me and meow, softly, as if asking for forgiveness for existing, for being part of this chaos. Something inside me melted. We left the alley and started walking back toward the main road. I carried Tom in one arm and the kitten in the other. I could feel her heart beating fast against my hand, fragile, scared, but alive. Tom wouldn't stop looking at her. His eyes, still red from crying, were filled with wonder. "Mom, can we keep her?" he asked quietly. "She doesn't have anyone." I didn't answer right away. Part of me wanted to say no. I didn't know where she came from, if she was sick, if we could even take care of her properly. But another part, the part that had just almost lost her son, couldn't ignore what I'd seen in that alley. Two lost souls who had found each other. When we reached the main street, I noticed cars rushing by, the noise of the crowd returning around us. Tom clung to my hand again, holding the kitten gently in his jacket. Then, something strange happened. A small, almost imperceptible moment that I will never forget. As we stood waiting to cross the road, Tom stepped forward, distracted by something on the other side, a red balloon floating away. Just then, the kitten wriggled out of his arms and tugged at the hem of his jeans with her tiny claws, letting out a desperate meow. Tom stopped instantly. A second later, a car sped past, splashing water where he would have stepped. My knees gave out. I pulled him close, trembling. He looked down at the kitten and whispered, "She stopped me, Mom. She didn't want me to go." And I believed him. That night, as the sun dipped below the rooftops, our house felt warmer than ever. Tom sat on the couch, cradling the kitten in a soft blanket. He had already named her Orange because, as he said, she looks like sunshine, but smaller and braver. I watched them from the kitchen, her purring softly in his lap, his eyes glowing with the kind of happiness only children can feel. And I realized how close I had come to losing everything that morning, and how something so small had kept me from it. Later, after Tom fell asleep, I sat by the window, holding the kitten in my arms. She purred against my heart, her tiny body finally at peace. And as I stroked her fur, I thought about how strange life can be, how it takes you to the edge of fear only to pull you back with something pure and unexpected. Maybe she had been meant to be there. Maybe she was lost so she could find us. Or maybe she was meant to find him. It's been months since that Sunday, but I still think about it often. Orange has grown stronger, healthier, and she follows Tom everywhere, to his room, to the backyard. Even when he brushes his teeth, she waits by the door. Sometimes when I see her watching him with those same amber eyes, I wonder if she remembers that day too. The day they both saved each other in different ways. I never told Tom how terrified I was that morning. How, for a whole hour, the world felt like it was collapsing. Because now, when I see him laughing with Orange, when I hear her gentle purring at his side, I know that out of all that fear came something beautiful. A reminder that love doesn't always arrive where you expect it. Sometimes it comes in fur, trembling and lost, waiting by the garbage bins of an old alley. Sometimes the ones we rescue are the ones who end up rescuing us. Love doesn't need words. It just needs timing, courage, and a heart open enough to recognize a miracle when it meows at your feet.